Hi there, Marlos44 from the future here, and I just wanted to update you guys on why this is so late, why this video is coming out so late. So long story short, my main computer shat the bed when Vanguard Zero, a little bit before Vanguard Zero shut down, and I had to record it on the laptop. And unfortunately, the laptop is decently old as well, and keeps crashing when it tries to render stuff. So I also could not get it done through that. And then eventually, once I got my main computer, like a year ago, I forgot about this because I edited it on the laptop, and I cannot use the old program I was using on this computer. So it kind of just fell off to the side, out of my mind, and I eventually edited it recently and remembered to do it, and now we're here doing this, and yeah, I had a couple things to edit in as well, so it's why I'm going to sound like this a couple times in the video when I'm talking about decks, because I didn't get to talk about them as well, because I said what was the point if I can't even use it on the laptop, if I can't even render it on the laptop. So now I got this going, we're good, and I'm going to get this uploaded. So I hope you guys enjoy my little just showcase of all my decks and all my cards. And from Vanguard Zero, I'm going to miss this game. I wanted to make sure I at least archive it on my channel like this. So yeah, enjoy, guys.
Hello. And welcome. It's me, Marls44, and welcome to the end of Vanguard Zero. I know it's been a long time since I've done something Vanguard Zero, and I've been trying to come back to it. It's just been very tricky with a lot of things just in my life right now, and figuring a lot of stuff out. And unfortunately, today's the last day. I've got like half an hour left, and I wanted to do a end of Vanguard Zero video because as much as the original game, like Vanguard, means more to me, this game is still Vanguard, you know, even though it plays differently and it wasn't like as important to my life. It's still like there was still something about this game that made me incredibly happy, and I just kind of want to go through it, look through everything, share everything of what I have and like what I collected in a way. I still haven't gotten some of the pulls, so I'm actually gonna try to save those for last and like do any extra pulls just for the fun of it. So stay tuned for those if you want to go there. I'll have markers down below. But yeah, we're just gonna be doing this. This is pretty much what we're doing. So yeah, end of termination. We got the termination stuff going on. I don't even know what that means. Cut that part out. That was stupid. So yeah, let's first look at, I guess, cards. We can look at decks and we can look at the cards I actually own. I'm gonna go first with my decks. I wanna kind of show off all the decks I have and I was working on, which is really unfortunate because like there are some I was literally right about to finish because of what they gave out. And yeah, so we got a bunch of these. These are all like unordered because I kind of transferred it to something else and then I transferred it back to this phone, so everything got unordered and I just didn't have the time to order it. So yeah, I can't remember if this Tsukuyomi is the G Tsukuyomi. I want to say it's not. No, it doesn't look like it. This is the original Tsukuyomi. This is the first deck I pretty much played when I started looking up like decks and like, you know, what to run and everything. Before that, I actually played Nova Grapplers, but this is like the first deck I went to once, you know, set 2 came out. And when set 1 was out for this, it was more so I just did things like I did things like oh man, I'm trying to figure out like my words, because I did things like Nova Grapplers with like stands and crits, For set 1, I didn't really know how to play in set 1, and I think that was a lot of people. And then once set 2 rolled around, I looked at like deck profiles and other stuff, and like tried to figure out, okay, how do I play like Tsukuyomi? And my friend helped me too, Jeff, you know him. But yeah, this is my Tsukuyomi build, the original one, and this was always very, very strong. And this is kind of like I loved using this deck, and I honestly still do. I know it doesn't add up, and I was really looking forward to using the G ones soon enough once I got enough like G crystals, metals, whatever they are, you know, things to create the G cards, because it was only a fighters collection thing. But I really love this deck. This deck was a lot of fun. I absolutely loved it. This Soulless OTT Coco, it's unfortunate. I wanted to do a bunch of deck profiles. Like I wanted to do a whole video on Coco. So this is the first Coco. This is actually, no, this is not the first Coco deck I made. This is the second one? But no, this was the first one, but I played, I changed it up once Cookie came into play. I actually ran a lot more of these guys, like originally, before Battle Sister Cookie showed up, and I'm pretty sure that's her name. I'm not crazy, right? And I just found he was the optimal like backup for Coco, in case you didn't get her. But now that you have, yeah, it is Cookie. Now that you do have Cookie, it's like I ran that instead, because it was always something like, yeah, this is a bum rush deck, but this was the deck. This the Soulless OTT was the deck that and is still the deck that I love to run in normal Vanguard. It is the deck that kind of solidified my play style. The aggressive big shields, but but it has like that intense aggression too, with the crits and just power and everything. And that's kind of what I did here to kind of balance it all out. And of course, as I said, like instead of running Cookie, I ran like 4 of these for backup, and then I think 1 of something else. I don't even remember what it was. I think it might have been like Evil Eye. Just oh no. That's only if you have 6 soul. I can't remember. It was one of the other cards. Maybe something that just gets a bit of a power up. I don't know. It was kind of something that didn't really work until like this all happened, and until Cookie came in, and then it feels like it worked much better. Not that it was amazing or anything, but for a bum rush, yeah, I feel like it was pretty decent. Mordred PBO, this was a blast. I created this deck because I thought it would be a lot of fun to abuse like PBO with Mordred Phantom to superior call like Blaster Dark, and then you have so many units that you call because of Revengers, so then you use like PBO to retire a Revenger, or to like you can use Dark Bomb Trumpeter to superior call like a grade 0, and then kill it with PBO to kill another grade 2 rear guard. Your opponent's wide open, and you have like all that pressure, and then the PBO Persona Blast too. It did rely on the break ride a lot more, because without it, it's unfortunate. And you have Raging Form, of course, as well, which is always excellent. But it was something that I had so much fun with, and honestly, I felt like worked pretty well. Like, it was a lot of fun. It was a great deck. I have a couple Gauntlet Buster, or no, this is the normal Gauntlet Buster deck. I think I did a deck profile on it. I can't remember, but I might have. But this is like just the standard Gauntlet Buster with Dragonic Descendant and Vowing Sword and such. And this card was pretty helpful. He was a helpful backup break ride if you didn't get Vowing Sword, and then you had all of like these support units, which it just flowed so well together. Like there was kind of no changing it, because it was just so good. Soulless Fromage was really interesting too. I saw somebody play this, and I don't remember the name, so I'm sorry, but I saw somebody play this like when I was facing them, and they were using Soulless Fromage, and I'm like, that's interesting, because now you run more Battle Sisters, you self-damage yourself for Fromage, and you can use like Fromage's ability as a backup for Coco as well, because you do want to use Coco to get Soulless, to get like for no soul, and and then you go into Fromage right after, and she just has a bit more pressure that way. And it was really, really interesting. Like, it wasn't anything amazing, but it was interesting. And I was like, man, this is such an interesting deck profile. Like, or not deck profile. This was an interesting deck, and it was one of the Solus decks that I wanted to take a look at. Then we have the original Zenith. I'm pretty positive I did a deck on this one, but of course you got your standard just Zenith stuff. Now, I did change some of this, as you can tell, because I have things like Algalove in here, and Percival. I don't have like the bluish flame dragon, and I don't know if I would have ran it because I feel like he fits better, but I don't know, maybe. But Algalove, Algalove. I don't know how to say that, but I feel like he works really, really well because he's basically he's pretty much like Josephus, not Josephus. Wow, I messed that up. He's pretty much this card. He's pretty much the same as this one. It's just when you place this, you counterblast into it. So it's like it made the deck even more efficient that way, and I thought that was really, really cool. Once the Blue Flame Liberators came around, and we got the Jewel Knights, which I did do a deck profile on. I'm pretty sure I know I did one on Ashlei Reverse, but I'm pretty sure I did one on this one too. But just the standard stuff, pretty much. And then we got Fortuna, which that I know, I'm pretty sure as well. I did a deck profile on, and just standard, like, full-on aggression with Fortuna is like checking repeatedly until you get a trigger. We got Hybrid Seal Dragon, which I don't think I did a deck profile on, but it was really interesting with like the End and Seal Dragon, so you can like basically get rid of your opponent's grade 2s and then completely pressure your opponent with the End, and like be able to kind of get all of those attacks that you want, because you can hit that last grade 2 because your opponent won't have a lot of grade 2s with the End, and then you have 3 attacks at your opponent with all that power boost from all the triggers you pulled. So it's interesting. We got the End Rebirth, just the standard kind of the End Rebirth kind of stuff. I didn't have all 4 rebirths until like recently. I don't have all the drag burnouts, but that's okay. We have the normal Revengers, which I know 100% I did do a deck profile on. Still love this deck. Still so much fun. I have such a blast with it. And honestly, PBO sometimes I feel like is better than that one other backup card for this deck. Luquier Reverse. I'm pretty sure I did a deck profile on this. Love this deck. One of my absolute favorite decks to play in this game, if not my favorite. Like, I love Oracle so much, but it's just not as fun to play in this. And this is one of the decks. This and Revengers were like the 2 I played the most, because I think it was this one, because there's just something about the way this deck functions and like the way it runs and works that it's such a blast to do. Such a blast to play. We got Turbo Ragey. I was still trying to figure out exactly like how the deck works, but Turbo Ragey was very, very interesting. It like you could like rush your opponent like crazy with this, and it was like you just kind of annihilated them really quickly, and it was really, really cool. I was trying to get everything for it, but of course, as you can see, I didn't get everything. Tetra-drive. I'm pretty sure this one I did a deck profile on, but just the standard Tetra-drive stuff, and like Tetra-drive is always really, really fun and very, very interesting too. Like even in normal Vanguard, I love Tetra-drive. Blau, didn't do a deck profile on this, but Blaus were so much fun, especially with like once you got Galaxy Blau Kluger. Oh man, and like the break ride with it, it's crazy, and I loved it. I loved every second of it. Like this deck was so much fun, and it was scary on the other side too. Zerekiel. I can't remember if I did a deck on this, but this is one of the ones that like it's not underrated, but I know it's not played as much. I know it wasn't played as much. A lot of these are break ride because I kind of fell off a little at Legion. I played only like Yggdrasil, however you say it. I think it was Yggdrasil, but I only played that deck. And like the others I rarely touched. I just didn't have as much fun with most of the decks. Like I only had fun with the Genesis decks. which was only like the one I had because I had to kind of commit to that one specifically. But this was one of the underdog ones, not underdog, but like one of the ones that wasn't played too much, but I did really, really love it still. It was still a lot of fun. Zarekio was a blast though. Got Battle Sister. I wanted to finish up this deck. I was almost there. I didn't craft those 2 cards because I never got my last like Coco, but I was gonna get her from like the V coupon stuff. And that's the thing. I have a bunch of V coupons just sitting around. I'm not gonna use them. Like this game's gonna close soon. So yeah. And we have Hybrid Jewel Knight, which was interesting with like Gancelot. I finally got all the Gancelots so I could kind of make this deck. This I never did a deck profile for, though, I know. But that was because I never had like, you know, the Gancelots. Because I like to do that kind of thing. And I would have liked if... I hoped that I had this finished in time to do the first deck profile, because I would have liked to do both kind of in the same video. Not like do an actual fight with both, but just kind of explain like, you know, how this works and what it kind of looks like more so. And I could have done it without complaining it. It's just Ashlei Verse, this one I know I did a deck profile on. One of my favorite decks as well, easily. This one is a blast. I have a lot of fun with the Break Ride decks. There's something about the Break Ride meta, not just in normal Vanguard, but in this game too, that have just been a complete blast to play. Like Limit Break was a lot of fun too, but there's something about this that just feels like it's just so much more interesting. One of my other favorite decks as well, Minerva. Now, just want to touch on this quickly. I know I did a deck profile, but yeah, I made a mistake with the starter because I thought it would be better to get your Cross Ride, but actually I found this much more consistent because you basically always get the soul you need for your Cross Ride, for your break ride, and when you don't get a break ride as well, as opposed to kind of always needing that break ride. And yeah, I just want to take a look at the SP Minerva. This is the card that like does in a way mean this, and the SP Coco that I have do kind of mean like the most, because these are 2 decks that I absolutely love. Like I have both decks because I love them so much. Like that is how I feel about these decks, because I love them. Like that SP Coco, look at that. Oh, gorgeous. But yeah, Minerva's one of my favorites, and I switched that out because I did find, yeah, it worked better. Ezel Scissor, super interesting deck. I do not remember. Okay, this is one of my favorite looking SPs. Like this one is gorgeous. At least the ones that I have, because I haven't seen them all. But still, even the Liberator Mark, like look at that, like Jesus. Sorry, I looked at that kind of quickly. But yeah, Ezel Scissor, really interesting, really cool. And I absolutely love this one too. This one was super interesting. This was one of like my favorite decks to play as well. And I know I'm saying that a lot, but there are so many Break Ride ones that I found were a blast. We got Dauntless Reverse, never finished it. I never got Nouvelle Vague, but it's a really interesting deck. I've played against it a few times, and it's super fun to play against. We got Pseudo Ezel version 1. I changed this up a little because like I kind of made like 2 versions. So like this is kind of like the first version where you focus more on like, you know, just self-damaging yourself most of the time, and then using Ezel's ability to kind of get like Blaster Blade Spirits and just kind of whacking your opponent around a bit. I do have Zenith to get your Blaster Blade Liberator, or if you Superior Call Zenith, you can get Blaster Blade Liberator, even though he can't use his thing, it's fine. Dual Riet, never finished it. I was never huge on the duos, but I did kind of want to finish this. This was interesting, but I never ever finished it. I wasn't super huge on it, but that's okay. I enjoyed like Pacifica a lot more. However, Reindeer, the new one, I was working on, but we'll get to that later. We got Maelstrom Reverse. I know I kind of did a deck profile on it. I talked about it a bit, and I know I talked about Duo Riet a bit too, but this was a very interesting and fun deck as well. We got Tempest Bolt, interesting in deck, interesting way to play as well, where you kind of do empty out your field a bit and hit your opponent a bunch, and then, you know, when you get into Tempest Ball, you basically blow up everything, but you won't have a lot of stuff to worry about. So it's pretty cool. Pacifica, I've went over this one before, but I absolutely love this deck. This is like one of my favorites in the Break Ride meta too. A lot of them that I'm saying are my favorites in the Break Ride meta are just my favorites overall, pretty much. We got Coco Parfait, which was interesting as well. So a better take after Parfait came in. So better than Cookie, especially here. Like, it's debatable in normal Vanguard. It was debatable for me about which one I actually thought was better and ran better with the deck. But here, there's no question because of how everything works. You can't just automatically Soul Blast. So it was much better to run Parfait after, you know, you get your Coco. So it was a lot better that way for this game, and it balanced out a lot better too, because you can run all these. Once Parfait came in, I think it was better than Fromage and the other one that I showed off. I have a version 2 of a Tempest Bolt as well, so this one plays a little differently. It's a little more like, kind of just, it's about blowing up everything still, but it's more focused on like, just don't worry about your stuff, just blow up as much as you can on your opponent's side and get like advantage and crits and stuff for it, and damage on flips for it. Sanctuary Alfred, I think I did a deck profile on this, don't remember, but just very standard lineup. Of course, I added Algolov, because why wouldn't I? Same reason as Zenith. Drag Ruler, which never finished, was an interesting deck, but I do really like the normal Revengers more, but still very, very interesting and really cool. Sure was a fun deck. Turbo Dayusha, I never really properly figured out. I don't know exactly how you're supposed to run it, but this deck was even wilder than Turbo Reiji. Like, you could end people so quickly because you could just get Dayusha so fast and like get such high crit, and your opponent doesn't have a PG. Even then, the next turn, you can just like do it again, and it's just, it was wild. It was wild, and it was kind of amazing. And I loved it. My favorite Legion deck, and I will say still one of my favorite decks, because I love these Genesis decks. These ones specifically, like the ones that run similar to Oracle, but also similar to Pale Moon. Like, it has an interesting in-between, and that's why I do really love these decks. But I find they play a lot more fun. They're just a lot more fun in this game than like Oracle is in normal Vanguard. I'd say about Oracle and Genesis are about the same in normal Vanguard, whereas this is like easily better because just Oracle is a little more meh. But I absolutely love that deck. That deck is like, it's just a standard thing, but it's so good. Thing Saber, really, really cool, really fun. I wasn't very good with it, but it is a really fun deck, and I can understand that, you know, it is a very good deck, and I can understand why. Ultimate Razor, never really completed it. I know it was kind of like busted in normal Vanguard, and I wanted to kind of see what it was like here, and I'm sure, and from what I remember hearing and seeing, it was just as, like, it was almost as busted. Like, the Razors are just so much fun. I have a lot of fun with Nova Grapplers, too. Keep hitting Perdition Dragon. I'm almost done with the deck, and then we'll look at, like, my actual cards before everything closes. And then we got the Bluish Flame Liberator stuff here. I did add in Prominence Core. Oh, no, right, there was Bluish Flame Dragon. I never actually got him, so I didn't really make a deck for him. I don't know what I would change. I would have to look at it. So this deck isn't fully updated, but this is kind of where it was before I would update it, if that makes any sense. Perdition, definitely a blast. I switched things around. Wow, that's embarrassing. Okay, I'll show you guys Perdition in a second. Hold on.
Alright, and as you see, as we have here, we have the Perdition deck. This was a pretty fun deck as well. Man, this deck, it was fun to kind of just destroy your opponent's field, and it was one of the only legions I actually really liked using. Of course, Yggdrasil. I'm so bad at pronouncing her name, but was like my favorite. But this is one of the ones I did really, really, really like using, and it used Overlord the Great. Granted, at the time when I used it, I didn't have all the greats, and now I do. So there's that.
So let's move on to Fenrir. I was working on this deck. I have it. It's interesting, but I do like one other better, which I'll get to in a second. But this is one of the G decks that I was working on. It's an interesting deck build. I really, really like it, though. I was kind of like, okay, I'm very excited. Loris, interesting one as well. Of course, there's others I kind of like better, but it definitely looked interesting in the way it played. But speaking of some that I do kind of like better, the reindeer one looked super, super cool and super fun. Like, this seemed like it was going to put so much pressure and aggression on people, and this was like crazy interesting. I never got to test any of this, but like, of course, as you can see, I kind of had my reasons for running what I did, because I haven't been able to test this.
All right, and then we got the Aisha, I think that's how you pronounce it, deck. This is a couple screenshots, as I mentioned before, with the Perdition deck, but because it's Stride, there's some Stride units a little bit down there, which we'll see soon. But I never really got to play this deck. As you can see, there was a lot of cards I was missing. I was very interested, though. I saw people play this deck, and I saw how it was played, and even like when I had to do like AI battles, I was like, this is interesting for like, events and stuff. I was like, oh, this deck is super interesting. I kind of want to build this, but I never got there. Unfortunately, it was one of the decks I was like, I really did kind of want to build, but there were priority decks, of course, like Minerva and other stuff from Stride and Susano. The decks that I ran with the most throughout the entirety of Vanguard, the Genesis Oracle stuff. So that.
Okay, so with that, we got Susano Witch. So these are the Oracle decks I did start playing, because I did find these G Oracle decks more fun. So this one's interesting. I did want to run 2 of these, but I never crafted it, and I was going to craft it too, which is unfortunate. So I have a few different versions of this. So this is Susano Witch. So it's Susano and Coco. The different Coco, the Witch Coco, no, that is the Witch Coco, not the Scarlet Coco, the other Coco. And then this is Coco Witches, so it's both version. I guess you can call this one Cuckoo, because the other one's Coco. So yeah, first one was Cuckoo and Susano. This one is just pure witches with Mimi focus. So the other one was a little more of a balance. I found this one plays better than I made a Coco Susano as well, but I found this Susano Witch plays better. It just felt like it worked better overall. Like, it functioned better. I can focus on Susano, and like, if I need the witches for that extra pressure, I can do it later on at the end of the game. Like, I just found that it worked better that way, because using the witches like that early sometimes won't benefit you. Hari, Night Rose stuff, Hari, whichever you want to say. I had to upgrade this from the last set, but I was very, very interested in G Granblue. Like, G Granblue very much interested me, more than Pale Moon. But Hari, oh my god, wait, no, this is Hari. The last one was Night Rose, but Hari, super, super interesting too. Very, very interesting, and I wanted to do some things with this as well. But I never got there. Coco Susano, here we go. This is the Coco Susano one. All 3 of them are just a little different on how they play and how they work, because, like, in this one you want to ride Coco, and the other one it's kind of like you don't really ride the witches until like later, whereas this one you kind of just do want to start with Coco. But of course, like with pure Susano over here, actually, let's not do that yet. I have G Battle Sister that I was working on. I never really figured out exactly what to run, though. So this isn't really this isn't something like, oh, I have a screenshot of it and I kind of forgot to just fix up the deck. No, this is something that I just didn't figure out. But this one is a little different, because I need to run, I have 2 of these. but I need a second one of this card, and I believe I can craft it now, but the game's closing, so doesn't matter. And I can craft these as well. I can craft everything here, but this is kind of like the setup I had, and it was a really interesting setup, and I'm like, oh man, like, this is going to be a blast. Like, this stuff is going to be great. Like, some of these new cards are interesting too, and like, oh my goodness, like, this is going to play so well and beautifully, and I was looking forward to it, but unfortunately, I just didn't get the chance. And G Regalia is great. That's one I think I just finished as well, and that's one of the other ones I was really looking forward to. This Genesis one was really interesting too. It wasn't. It was more so focused on our Muda, and it was interesting the way like the way things worked. I was looking at it, and it took me a while to figure out how this worked, and it's like, okay, now it makes sense. Now I think I understand how I have to run this. But it was also a little weird, like, wait, oh man, this Revelation stuff is like a little confusing. And then we got Regalia, the last one, G Regalia. This, I did start playing a bunch of this. I finished up the Minerva and everything, and because I had so much fun with normal Minerva during Break Ride, I can safely say this was actually also one of my favorite decks, because as much as I enjoyed Susano, this was a blast to play, and I'm going to miss this because I actually wanted to get back to ranked fights and play a bunch more with this deck because it was so much fun and because I enjoyed it so much. And I really like the balance in this too. Like, I organized this in a way so it would work kind of no matter what, but also because, like, you're running like G and stand and everything, and I didn't get too much testing unfortunately because of that, but I do feel like most of this is pretty solid. Like, I wouldn't have to change most of this. It might be one card change here or one card change there, like one less of something, one more of something here or there, but I adjusted it as I like played a bit. I didn't get to do many rank fights though, but I still was able to play a little, and I adjusted things as I played, and I found like this was kind of the set that worked the best for me, and it was just so amazing, and I'm gonna miss this deck too a lot. I know the real one exists, but this is handy. I don't have that many people to play with IRL that often, so this is very handy to me, and it's unfortunate that this is what's happening so early. It's unfortunate that I do think the way they handled the G stuff is kind of why the game declined in terms of packs and everything, because I found it harder to just get everything overall. But it's unfortunate. I do want to actually look at something really quickly. I just kind of want to look at my profile really quickly, like show it off to you guys, and then we'll go into the cards quickly before everything stops. I'm not going to get to do those pulls that I'm looking forward to doing because I don't think I have the time looking at it, but we're just going to look at my profile because I want to show off a couple things that I kind of accomplished-ish. So, yeah, this is my profile. This is kind of like my stats-ish. I did play a lot of Revengers, but once I kind of started getting in the groove of Minerva, that's when I started getting a lot of wins with Genesis, and I got a lot of wins with Tsukuyomi as well. And of course those wins with the G cards. I got top 3,000. I was actually very close to getting top 2,000 for Sacred Regalia. That was my highest placing ever. I got the top 1,000 for this clan fight, which was really cool. And I was like, oh, cool. But I also got top 3,000 for the Ashlei rank fight, which was the Pure Foundation Knight. But this one is my biggest achievement because the Ashlei one was 2,600 something or 2,700 something, and the Regalia one was like 2,100. Like, I was really close, and it's just I didn't have enough time to play, unfortunately. If I had more time to play, I would have gotten there because of the decks I was using. So let's go look at my cards for real quick. We're gonna go look at just my whole database kind of thing. I'm just gonna skim through it, and you guys can see what I got. And we're just going to go through owned. And then that's I think that's where I'm going to call it. So I absolutely love this game. I know Vanguard 0 was different and it was harder to get into for me like in the beginning, But as I got into it more and more, I started to love it. I did spend some money on it because, you know, I love Vanguard and I'm willing to spend some money on it. This is that kind of game that I am willing to do that for, and I did. And I also felt I did get a little carried away because of how much it means to me, but I also very much appreciate this game, and I am very much going to miss it. Like, not just because I mentioned I don't have a lot of people to play the actual game with, like, in person. I don't have, like, I have a bunch of decks, but I don't have the, it's just not a lot of people play it. Like, I have one friend who does, but I don't see him often enough. And, you know, the other friend who does as well just isn't always down to. So it's kind of, it's a hard thing sometimes. Oh, this SP is really fucking nice. It's a hard thing sometimes because it's very much, it hurts because this was a way of actually playing that. This was a way of getting that kick for Vanguard. And it sucks that it fell off for me with G stuff, but I did start getting back into it, as I said. And I started getting, like, you know, enjoying myself. And I had a lot of fun with what I was able to do. And what I was able to make, all these different decks, all the deck profiles, all the, like, even the little connections I made from the few videos I made, because I know I didn't make a lot of videos. I'm not the biggest person on doing, like, I don't mind doing camera stuff, and I try to do it for Vanguard because that's what most people do. And yeah, see, as you can see down there, I could have crafted that Oracle card, so I could have done that. But we were given that like a month ago or something. Ooh, that's a really nice SP over here. Hello. I forgot about that one. Hexagonal Magus. But yeah, there's Coco again. My avatar pretty much. When everybody considers, you know, who's your avatar, mine's easily Coco because it's always kind of been that. Minerva would be the number 2. But it's always been Coco for me. If I had to consider, like, you know, if Coco didn't exist, who would it be? Minerva. But yeah, I do have strong feelings for this game because it's like it got that Vanguard kick out of me. And while it was nice to do and I couldn't play it all the time, I enjoyed when I was able to sit down and play it. And sometimes, yeah, sometimes there were things that were just annoying, like when people would just keep pulling heal triggers and you're sitting there like, what the heck? Like, why do you keep just pulling heal triggers and healing? Stop it. I should have won like 7 times by now and I just lost. But things like that happen. And I just, that's okay, because in the end, I had a blast with this game. No matter what happened, I had a blast with this game, and I'm just going to miss it. But it was a good experience. It was a fun experience, and I wouldn't take any of it back because we need to look at Blaster Dark. That was like, whew. I love this game because this game did still mean so much to me. This game was awesome. Like, man, some of the things they did, it felt like some of the decks were fixed. Like PBO, like, actually worked, you know? Like, wasn't like, it was inferior to the end in MLB, but it didn't feel like it was too inferior because the way this game was. And there were some decks that, of course, reigned supreme, and some like just had more trouble, like Oracle, and that's unfortunate. Well, unless you talk Tsukuyomi, because that was consistent. And I do think Susano isn't too bad, actually. I think Susano actually has some good, like, things to it, especially with, like, you know, witches and stuff, like, not Susano, but G Oracle. But I really enjoyed this game. I know I keep saying that, but it's just like, the game is ending. I'm never going to be able to look at this again. Like, I'm never going to be able to see this game again, and I liked what they did for some of the changes with the cards to make them interesting, to make things work better. Like Pale Moon felt like, especially during like break right after, it felt like it was a lot more playable. Like, it didn't feel like it was hard to kind of do things unless you got crits or something. It felt a lot more like playable. It felt like, oh, there he is, bluish flame, prominence core. Prominence glare, that's what it was. I call it bluish flame dragon because it's like, that's what it looks like. You can't blame me for that one. Isol Scissor again. But yeah, that's what this game was for me. And yeah, I don't need to keep reiterating that. And I know I keep doing that. But of course, I feel like with anybody in this situation, anybody who has strong feelings for this game is going to feel this way. And the second I saw the notice, I have to record stuff. I have to record like deck profiles and stuff. And then thing after thing happened, and I just didn't have the time. And part of it, there was a bit of it that wasn't, I just didn't make the time. But I'm not trying to, I also want to spend some time relaxing. I can't do everything, and I figured, you know what, let's just do a end of Vanguard video. I'll show off all these decks, I'll show off all my cards. I want to show off my room in this, but I don't think I have the time. I think it might kick me out. I don't know. I'm going to try to do pulls. If it lets me, awesome. If it doesn't, oh well. And if it doesn't let me show off my room as well, oh well. I'd like to, though. But I want to look at all the stuff I have, you know? I want to, especially because, like, I did spend some money on this, so I would like to look at this and be like, hey, this is what I got from everything I've done. This is what I've got. And that is without pulling in the last, like, month, basically, because I have a bunch of packs just sitting around that I need to, even this, like, the special packs, too, that I had to collect, and I just didn't. I wasn't sure what I was going to do with them. And that's why I think I might just grab the ones that I kind of knew I kind of wanted to do it with. I made this Yggdrasil. I thought I made an SP one, actually. Huh. No, I didn't. I thought I did. Okay. That's unfortunate, because I think I wanted to. That's why. But that's okay. I have the SP Minerva, which is, yeah. This and Coco are like my favorite SP because they're my favorite cards. Although I think in terms of the actual SP, Minerva I like better. Minerva's is so much cooler. And then there's something about this Minerva. When she came out, and it's kind of why I grinded so hard on that clan event, and probably why I got top 1,000 as well. And like I think I got like 500 or something. Or no, not 500. I got like pretty high up, like close to 500. I think it was 600-ish. Because I think you get like top 500 for 500. But I absolutely was like, I was looking at this like, I get to play Regalia again. I get to play not just Regalia, but Minerva again. That is what I want. That is what I'm looking forward to. And that's why, like, once I got that, I started playing more. And it's just unfortunate that, as I said, that it's closing, because it's like, man, I would have liked to play this deck more. That deck was so much fun, and the way some of the cards worked and everything, it was really, really cool. Like, and I was trying to find a rhythm of how to make it work, and I made it work, and I'm like, oh man, this is awesome. And I realized too, I was like, I can't run draw triggers on this, and that's perfectly fine. It's just all gonna be pressure. But because I'm coming for such high attack, I think I was running some stands in it and some crits, if I'm not mistaken. I'm pretty sure. Crits for like the restanding, and, you know, stands for, hey, pressure from rear guards too that are going to restand. And I think it restands the front row, so it's like I could boost and then not have to worry as much because I can get like a restand. If I needed to boost, and I can't remember exactly where my brain was with that stuff. Like, I kept testing it, and it was going to take more testing. I wanted to do a deck profile on that, though, before this all ended. That is, like, the one, that and Susano and the Coco stuff were, like, the three things I really wanted to do a deck profile on before this all ended, but unfortunately, I just didn't. I didn't manage to get the time. I did other things. I had other things on my, like, priority list, and unfortunately, once the notice came out, it was like, crap, I have to do this. But then I just got very busy, and unfortunately, I couldn't do anything about that. So I just wasn't able to do that, and it sucks. I would have liked to do a deck profile on those 3 decks-ish, but that is also okay, because I at least showed them off here and explained, like, hey, these decks are, like, they are complete, they are what I think they are, and they were the ones that I want to keep working on. I wanted to do deck profiles on. I let you guys know that because it's like, they were a big deal to me. I wanted to touch on them. I wanted to actually touch on Coco as a whole, like, video of, like, decks throughout Vanguard 0 and kind of, like, run through all of my decks that I've made with Coco throughout Vanguard 0, because each time, like, Oracle got support, I would kind of look and see if there's anything to kind of help Coco, and I wanted to do, like, a history of, you know, Coco's growth in Vanguard 0, because that's how much Coco means to me. Because, like, that's how much those decks mean to me, because they mean a lot to me like with the IRL cards, and they still mean a lot to me here, even though I don't have a fun with them. And maybe that's why. That's why it's not in my head. That's why I kind of, like, you know, kind of kept slipping my mind, because this is a little different. And it's easy to kind of forget stuff on your phone like this, I feel like, too. But that's okay. As I said, we are all good there. But I'm doing this, and I'm making sure to do this before everything is gone, because I refuse to lose it all. I refuse to lose all this progress. You guys deserve to see all this. You guys deserve to see, where I was, what I have, and I want to save it and archive this for myself. That is... I don't think I ever showed off a Big Bang Knuckle Dragon deck. I had the deck. I think I deleted it because I didn't really play it that much, which is weird because I should have deleted Thingsaver, but I think there was something a little more interesting with Thingsaver. Oh no, I actually did find more fun. It's just there was something about Thingsaver that I'm like, I think when I get this down, I might enjoy it the same amount. But I loved the Big Bang Knuckle Dragon deck. That deck is so much fun. And then, like, you know, there's the stronger version, like when the stronger Legion came out too. Big Bang Knuckle Buster, I think it was. But oh man, Vowing Sword. That Vowing Sword reverse, one of the coolest looking ones. Oh my god. One of the coolest looking reversed ones. Especially in the SP, my goodness. Yeah, like I had stuff like a Glendios deck and other stuff, and I just, like, I deleted them because I made room for other decks that were more important to me, unfortunately. Not unfortunately, but, like, unfortunately, like, you know, you guys aren't going to see it. And I was hoping to eventually, like, just make those decks so you guys could see it, and then get rid of them. I was going to make... What my plan was, I wasn't going to touch on anything G related. I was going to touch on decks throughout, like, the first bunch of sets before G came out. Maybe not Legion, but maybe Legion. I wasn't sure, but it was more so like the beginning and Limit Break and Break Ride. I was going to touch on each, like, deck and, like, how they've grown and, like, cards you can run and this and that. And I wanted to look at the actual, like, decks and have them all there built. And I was going to take screenshots of, you know, the decks I would delete and then just remake them. And then just kind of go through each set and be like, this deck is like this. Like you ran, like, Brutal Jacks in you know, set 1. You would run, like, Death Army Lady because of that. And then you would run, like, Draws and Street Bouncer. Like, the original, like, Nova Grappler was really interesting too, because you would run, like, Hungry Dumpty. You could run a little, like, Kirara, but you had ways to unflip. You had Brutal Jack because he was so good, especially with 11k base, which was wild. You had Death Army Lady because, well, so many grade 3s because of just the sole fact. This one looks really sick, this SP. Oh my gosh, I forgot about this SP. Mega Flare. Mega Flare. I don't know why I'm saying it like that. Immortal Assure Kaiser was alright. It was interesting, but it felt like it could have done more. It was unfortunate that way. but because of how many grade 3s you ran, the Death Army decks were very, very, very interesting that way, because it was like very like, it was very cool in the sense that, like, I remember I played Razor a lot at the beginning, like Perfect Razor near the beginning-ish. Like, if I wasn't playing Tsukuyomi, I'd be playing this, because, you know, sometimes Tsukuyomi is tiring. Like, Tsukuyomi can get tiring. Can get very tiring. Because it's like, it's consistent, like, you have to remember, like, what's at the bottom, and, like, the cards you looked at, you have to look into it. You have to make sure to pay attention you don't run out of time. So Perfect Razor was a nice... I'm gonna say it, a little bit more of a brain dead kind of thing, but it was like a good kind of brain dead. Like, you still had to play well. But it was this card, Gold Rutile, I would usually use with, like, at the beginning with, like, Brutal Jack and stuff. And then once I kind of figured out how to play, I would kind of use it with Brutal Jack and all that. Like, have draws, but then you get a bunch of, like, stands from Death Army Lady and Death Army Guy. And then you also have Mr. Invincible there for unflipping and everything. And so he can, you know, fix what Brutal Jack did, basically, and then Kirara can do what she needs to do, and you have Street Bouncer for also draws, and, like, there was just a lot of cool things I found with Novas in this. Like, it was really cool, and it's like, a lot of this was just not viable in normal Vanguard, even at the beginning, because AKs were just so vulnerable, and, like, they just didn't do enough, because, like, you didn't want to waste a shield on that, but then you lost some of your pressure because of that. So it was really cool how, like, it felt more viable because you have to attack the grade 2s. Like, sure, bigger units like Brutal Jack are obviously harder because now your opponent has to go for, like, a full swing. They need to have the power for that, but it was just really, really interesting how they made some of that very, like, optimal in this, and that's partially why I do really like what they did with some of this. Like, yeah, some of it is like, it was weird. Like, Legion kind of did feel like the same game as normal Vanguard, where you just keep putting cards back into the deck and you just keep getting heals because you just keep healing. Like, I had games when I played, because I did play rank fight for Legion, but it was only with Yggdrasil, and, like, I had games where you would just continuously, like, heal and heal because you kept putting heal triggers back in the deck, and it's like, that stuff needs to be not allowed. You need to not be allowed to put heal triggers back in the deck, I think. Like, that's what I think they should have done to balance that here, because it caused an issue. Or just no triggers at all. But definitely no heal, absolutely, because it's like, that needed to be balanced, because it just made games last forever, and it made Legion get a little boring for me that way. Glendios was a fun deck. Glendios was an interesting deck, especially with all the reverse units you could run and everything. It was really cool. You wouldn't even, like, sometimes I know you don't even go for ultimate lock in like the normal game. That's not your plan. You just kind of pressure your opponent until they're like, until they basically have no hand and couldn't really pressure you, and you have a huge hand, and then you just kind of finish them off. Whereas, like, this game, honestly, sometimes it seemed like ultimate lock was better, and sometimes it didn't. It was a weird, like, mix. Oops. It was a weird, like, mix between it. So it was interesting that way. But yeah, I found they balanced some of that better, but I do feel like with Legion in particular, why it was so short was because I feel like, I don't know if people complained, but I feel like they did, because it was like, it was just repeated healing over and over and over like normal. Like, and it was just, that part was just not fun. Oh, wait, I gotta talk about Spike Brothers quickly, because this deck, I got rid of this deck a while ago. I never completed it with, like, you know, Dudley Emperor and Jelly Beans and everything. And I mean, before Jelly Beans came in, you didn't run them, but Jelly Beans was really, really good, though, because it can get you more Dudleys, and you just run this as a heal, and you basically, like, you use this as your heal trigger, but then you just put it back in the deck, and you get your heal trigger back, and then you get more Dudleys that can, like, pressure, but now you have more heals in deck. But Dudley Emperor, oh man, it was such a blast. This deck was so much fun. Like, oh man, this deck was amazing. Because and I never finished it, and I had a blast. This, and especially when Bata and Dragger came out, the amount of pressure you could put on that turn. If your opponent survived, it's like, oh crap, okay, but you probably finished them the next turn because of how it worked. And that was a neat SP. I didn't really have fun with this Spike Brother, honestly. It was okay. It's not that it was bad. It just I didn't feel like I had fun with it, and it just wasn't a. It was a little more RNG ish, whereas like with Juggernaut Maxim and Dudley Emperor combination, it felt a lot more consistent and a lot more like just like it worked better overall. And I absolutely loved it. This is oh my god, this is one of my favorite SPs. Actually, this might even beat Minerva. If I'm not talking like my favorite card, of course, because this SP, when I got it, I went holy crap, and I think I had a video on it, but I lost my crap because I was like, this SP is one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen. Like I've ever seen in this game. Like this looks incredible, amazing, incredible, amazable, incredible, like. That was stupid. I'm sorry. But, like, this SP, there's something about it that they have it nailed down to a T. This is my favorite overall SP. Like, not in terms of favorite card. Like I was saying about, you know, my favorite card for my favorite SP would be Minerva. And it is one of my favorite SPs, Minerva. Coco is a pretty good SP, but it's not anything, like, incredible in my eyes. Like, it's incredible because it's Coco, and I love just how it looks with Coco. But as an actual, like, SP, I'm like, yeah, it's pretty good, but it's not, like, amazing. But, man, Zelma, best SP in the entire game, in my opinion. Like, that SP that we just looked at, the Zelma one, the Silver Fang, Silver Fang. Silver Thorn. Silver Fang. God dang it. Silver Thorn, like, that was one of the most beautiful ones. One of the most. That was the most amazing SP. And this one's really freaking amazing, too. Luquier is one of the best, too. Like, what? Look at this. I don't know what it is with Pale Moon ones, but they seem to do a really, really bang job on them. I really like this Alice, this promo Alice. It was really cool. But yeah, that man, that SP. I think we're almost done here. I know I keep talking, but I don't know how I'm finding stuff. I don't know how I'm finding stuff to talk about. Sometimes you just do. You're talking about the game, looking through the cards, seeing things, being like, oh man, this, oh man, that, you know? And as I'm going through this, for anybody who's watching, I'm sure you're thinking kind of similar things, like, yeah, or, oh, or, like, I remember this, though. Not the same thing as you, but I remember, like, this and that, and this SP kind of made me go, wow, like that, and, like, these cards and this deck was, like, oh, was, like, the best time for me, you know? It's kind of that. Oops, I went a little fast there. Sorry. It's kind of that like thing. It's that thing. You talk about it and it gets your brain rolling. I talk about it and gets people's brain rolling. People's brains, their minds, their thoughts, their feelings. I'm good at doing that to people. I think. Tell me in the comments below. Yeah, we are almost done here. I do want to actually quickly see where we're at, because we should be about done. We got Aqua Force. Wow, okay, we got a few more to go, but we're basically done. We're basically done. It's actually already 11, so I don't know if it's because I'm on this screen. I don't want to jinx it, but I'm guessing because I'm on this screen and have it backed out that, you know, it doesn't tell me, hey, oh, this isn't working anymore. And it's like, I guess this is still working because I haven't left this area. So I'm a little afraid to back out, but if I'm able to back out, do those pulls, look at my room, I'm going to do it. Like, this is going to be, I might even split this video up. Like, this is going to be I might split it up into the parts of certain things. Like, a goodbye to Vanguard 0, looking at all my cards, a goodbye to Vanguard 0, like all my my decks, a goodbye to Vanguard 0 pulls kind of thing. Looking at all my cards would be looking at my collection though, but like because like the top everything, it would be looking at my room. But we'll see if I back out and it's closed. This is just one video, so you guys will know. I'm just letting you know. You know. Man, Reindeer is one of those decks that like I definitely thought was interesting at the beginning, and like I was kind of like, I do wish they make it better, and I really like what they did with this Reindeer specifically, and I'm like, oh my gosh, that was the card I was trying to, excuse me, that was the card I was trying to really, really, really pull for because I wanted it. I wanted it so bad because I was like, oh man, this actually seems like it'll be a blast to play and won't be too bad either. Feels like it won't be too bad. I just need a drink. Give me a second. I've been talking for like an hour straight. Oh my goodness. Transcore looks gorgeous. This card looks pretty nice, but Transcore looks gorgeous. Maelstrom looks pretty... Glory Maelstrom. Sorry. Looks pretty cool. I wish I actually had normal Maelstrom because I never got to play, like, normal Maelstrom. Because I didn't really pull them. And I didn't... I was more interested in saving up, like, Aquaforce stuff for Tetra. But it was just, like, I didn't have a lot of normal Maelstroms. I finally got some, like, over time. And it's like, I know I only needed, like, 3 once Glory Maelstrom showed up. But originally, you know, you needed 4. It's just once Glory showed up, yeah, okay. I needed 3. I didn't need more. I needed 3 of these. I needed, like, 2 of these. I think I could run, like, 4 of those, and you just run, like, self-damagers and stuff. I can't remember exactly. It might have actually been 3 Glory and 4 normal Maelstrom. I might just be wrong, right? But it was interesting. It was one of those decks that I do wish, like, that's that thing I really liked about this as opposed to normal Vanguard, because there are decks I look at and I'm like, and Great Nature I absolutely love in normal Vanguard, I could tell you. And, like, I do really like it here, but Great Nature I like a lot more in normal Vanguard, similar to, like, Oracle. It's in that same spot with Oracle, because I absolutely love Great Nature. It feels similar that way with the way it plays. So like Great Nature is one of those clans that like I feel very comfortable with just picking up. But sorry, I need a drink again. But it just never interested me as much in this game. Similar to like how Pale Moon was interesting in normal Vanguard, it didn't really interest me too much. And in this game, I'm like, oh my god, I want to play it. And I mean, Neo Nectar didn't really interest me until like G stuff, because I saw what some of the G stuff was like, and I was like, okay, you know what? The Stride Neo Nectar, yes, please. More so, oh, I don't remember her name, but like it was one of the screenshots I showed earlier of like, yeah, it's not in the game, but it's Asha, however you say her name, Ashaha. You know her, but grade 3. Yeah. Okay, we're down to this stuff. We got our Clay Elementals. I mean, I guess I could just go through them to go through them. It's whatever, but like, there's nothing special here. Oh yeah, I got all these cards. I got like. I know this was something that was kind of easy to get, but I got all of these, like, the idol kind of stuff. They were kind of neat. It was a weird thing to me, but I also understand it. Vanguard tends to be very, like, it has this idol stuff, and this one was really cool to get. I was curious what the decks were like with this. I never looked it up, but I kind of actually wanted to make a deck just to kind of see what it would be like and play like, since I got all of these cards, you know? But that's it. That's all the cards. So let's back out if servers are still running. we'll look at my room and do some pulls. I thought they were going to be closed by now, but... Oh. Yep, that's it. I think that's it. Yep, it was because, dear players, thank you so much for playing Vanguard 0. The maintenance for closing of the game service has started. 29th of June, 2023. 11 o'clock for me, EST. For your continued support throughout our game service, once again, from our hearts, thank you. And I appreciate you, Vanguard. I appreciate you, Bushy Road. So that's it. I won't be able to look at the rest of my stuff. I don't know exactly how this stuff works, obviously. But I'm doing this as a, like, you know, thank you, Vanguard, as well to them, because I appreciate them. I appreciate Vanguard. And I know it's Bushy Road who does it, but, like, it's the Vanguard game that I appreciate. Like, none of the others have really stuck out to me that they make. It's this one specifically there's something about this, as I said. But I'm guessing I can't look at anything else. Can't show off my room, can't do those pulls. I could have looked at my room first, but I wanted to make sure I got those cards done, and you know what? It's fine. My room was just full of stuff like, it had like Misaki, Corn, Suiko, and then it had like, and then it just had like, you know, Misaki's bed and other stuff, like just stuff like that were more so catered to the characters I really loved, but also like the decks I really loved, if that makes sense. So it was catered kind of towards that, and then it was catered to also like who was in the room as well. So if that gives you any ideas, but like you can't see it, right? So I wish I could have shown it, but it's all right. It's all right. You know what? I got the important part out of the way. The important things I got covered. So I don't know how much the closing maintenance works. I don't know if it means, I don't know exactly, because I could always come back and show off like my room and stuff. But I'm pretty sure that means that this game is just inactive. I can't like go and see all my stuff anymore. I can't do anything with any of the cards. I can't do anything. I'm assuming that's what it means. So, and not like, you know, you just can't play with people and other stuff, and you can't like fight and stuff. You can go and look at your stuff, but that's it, you know. I don't think that's what it means. I think it's completely gone. It's going to be deleted from people's phones and like the store, because it's gone. Like, it's going to be actually gone. I'm guessing that's what it means, because I've never experienced this before. So it would make sense that way. I know it sounds a little silly coming from my mouth. It's just, that's just where my brain is, because like I could show off the rest of it if need be, you know. But I doubt it, because I don't think I'm ever, yeah, I think the game's just completely gone now. So, anywho, thank you all for joining me for that. That was a nice, touching hour of just sharing all of that and my experience. In a way, I shared my experiences with it all, and also I got to share it with you guys, and I got to archive like the important things, as I said. So thank you guys a bunch for that. I have a bunch of like sleeves and stuff that were interesting that I guess I could have looked at too, but I didn't think about that. But that's okay. I hope you guys enjoyed this game as much as I did as well, because of course if you're here, you probably did. And just let me know what your memories and everything are, like your memories, your feelings about this game are in the comments below. Make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoy, and I will be back with more videos about stuff, and I'm gonna try to hop back on like, you know, normal Vanguard as well after this is, since this is kind of closed off. I think I'm gonna try to get back into that and do deck profiles with that, because this was a good like way to do that, as I said, because I don't have a lot of people to play with IRL. But now I think I have to go back to the normal game, which is fine. It's just, this was a good experience, and a very fun experience too, and was worth it. And I wouldn't take back a minute I wouldn't take back like a second of, you know, my time on this, as I said. So yeah, share that with me in the comments below. Thank you all for